on me. Nice and...
Okay. So, when I worked at the British Museum 20 years ago, before you were born and when you were very small, the real Rosetta Stone was just like this. You could touch it. It hadn't yet become a celebrity. It was just, you could touch it like this, and I used to touch it. Everybody did. But then it became the most famous thing in the whole museum. It is like the Mona Lisa at the British Museum. So, they had to make a replica. They had to make a replica which people could touch. This isn't the real stone, but this is a stone you can touch. And this is a stone you can hold and you can actually feel. And I think I rather look at this than look at something in a glass case surrounded by so many people that I can't connect with it. Right, your language is French. Beautiful language, perhaps one of the most beautiful in the world. It is. Italian is also very beautiful, but French is very beautiful. Very beautiful. That's why I'm glad you're teaching it to me. My teachers never taught me French, but you're teaching me French. I'm learning little bits from you. Now, your language is very beautiful. And you know, now we have computers and YouTube, and you make videos every day, and you have so many things on computers. I'm sure you imagine that in 1,000 years, some of that will still be here. You think? Mm-hmm. You would like to think that in 1,000 years' time, there will be some evidence that we were here. That us, you know, that our people, the French people, lived 1,000 years ago, and there will be some evidence in a place like this. Wouldn't you like to think that? And people can come and study it and know what it was like when Tristan was on Earth. You presume that? Yeah. Would you like that? I would like that, to think that. Now, the Egyptians also thought that. The ancient Egyptians were a very high civilization. You only have to see this museum, and the National Museum in Cairo, and the Metropolitan Museum in New York, full of Egyptian artifacts. High civilization. Higher perhaps than ours, more special in the world than ours today. They were like the Americans of their day, the leaders of the world. And they had a beautiful language, as beautiful as French. Perhaps more beautiful, because they wrote it like this, in pictures. They wrote it in pictures of birds and animals. This is how they made the language. Not in letters, but in pictures, a pictorial language. So, and this is written on all their monuments. Every place you will see thousands and thousands of hieroglyphs telling you their history, telling you their story, marking their great events, their beautiful things. However, it's almost incredible to believe. What happened? It got lost. People could not understand it. You think, how did this happen? But in fact, it got lost. It became a mystery. People could not understand this language, not even one word of it, not one word. They saw the language everywhere, they discovered the great monuments, they brought them to London, they brought them to Paris, they brought them to New York, but they had no idea of what they meant, none. That whole language, that whole history, that whole magnificent history was lost entirely, completely, until they found this stone. Who found it? The French found it. The French found this. A very famous French archaeologist found this stone in 1799 in the Nile Delta, the delta of the River Nile. You know where the Nile comes up into a beautiful many rivers, and there's a delta there. And in the delta he found this stone at a place called Rosetta. In 1799. Now, I think that he had an idea about what this could be, but I'm not sure, to be honest, because I'm not an Egyptologist. But I do know that very soon the French sold it to the British. I don't know why. You know, this was 1799, this was Napoleon, lots of things were happening in France. It was a period of great unsettled times. So it wasn't like France now, you were in revolution. It was your high point, but everything was happening. The kings were getting killed, the aristocrats were being slaughtered, so things were unsettled. And Meanwhile, over here, things were quite calm at that time, calm-ish. And so they sold it. Now, it still took many years for them to discover what this was, or what it could be. But they did discover it, and they discovered they made the. You see, there's only a little bit of hieroglyphs here. This part is destroyed, but this is in Demotic. Demotic is the language of every day of the Egyptian people. Demotic. It's the language of the people. It's the ordinary language of the Egyptian people of that time. Now, people had a little inkling about what that was. A little inkling. No inkling about this. A little inkling about this. A little inkling. This, what language is this? Greek. Classical Greek. So they had perfect knowledge of this. This is supposed to be me we're filming here now. Perfect knowledge of this and a little knowledge of this. Now, when they deciphered this, they found it's not a very important thing. It's like a testament in favor of a certain priest leader. You know, it was like a local politician, and this writes his tribute, you know, something nice about him. That's all. Not a pharaoh, not Ramesses II, not a king, just a local priest, I think. And this tells a little of his praise. And then they discovered, as they compared these, that this was exactly the same as this. So this was the same thing in Greek and in Demotic. So what did they guess? That this would also be the same. And through that, through these few little words, they opened again the ancient mysteries of all Egypt. They now, through this, could decipher every hieroglyph on every monument in Cairo, in New York, in Paris, and here in London. And suddenly the secret that was lost, our secret, the secret of the Egyptians as they were at that time, was found again, opened again. And we knew once again how those people were and who they were and what they did. And that's why we're fascinated today by the Egyptians, because we know now who they were through this lovely language. And as we walk through the museum, you will see this everywhere. On all the Egyptian sculptures, it will be full of this. And now you know that our people can read this again and know what it means. So this is like the answer to a jigsaw puzzle. It's like the great key to unlock the mystery of it all. And it's here in this little ugly stone. Ugly, broken, just a stone, not in gold. Just a stone, found by the French, sold to the British, called Rosetta after the name of the place it was found in the Nile Delta in 1799. No wonder I want to bring you here, because for you to leave this museum and not understand this stone would be like visiting the Louvre and not seeing the Mona Lisa. Not that you'll ever understand the Mona Lisa, no one does. Or going to Rome and never seeing the Sistine Chapel. Or going to Paris. What else would you see in Paris that's like this? So important. Yeah, the Joconde. Where else? Where else must I go in Paris? What else is like this in Paris? Is there anything else I have to see?
Tour Eiffel? Versailles? Versailles?
Château de Versailles.
Yeah, the Chateau of Versailles. Exactly. The Chateau. This is the Chateau of Versailles, this ugly little stone. The Chateau of Versailles. And now you know why. Now you know why. I like the fact that I can hold this, because I almost feel I can pick it up and give it to you to bring home with you, because I want you to bring this home. I want you to bring this home. You know now that there's a big language course called Rosetta online. You know this? No. One of the most famous at the moment online learning of languages, new languages, is called Rosetta. If you Google it, if you Google Rosetta, you won't get this. You'll get the languages, how to learn Japanese, how to learn French, how to learn English. It's called Rosetta, the Rosetta technique. And it's called after this stone that I love. Can you tell that I love this? Okay, there we go. Are we ready for our next exhibit? Yeah. Come with me.
Okay.